You are not free therapy. If you do not walk away when a boundary is broken, you are doing it to yourself. You're letting him. I feel as if he knows that you'll never leave, that is a self-love and a self-worth problem. If you know you will never leave, that is a self-love and a self-worth problem. You have to be willing to leave. When you don't have a life, when you make that person your life and you no longer maintain your own life, your aura points, they drop. You don't have a life and it's destroying you. The fact that you don't have a life is why people think that they can treat you the way that they treat you. Him being a bad communicator and hyping me up to make me think, oh, I want to see you, I want to see you, I want to see you, and then letting me down, that gave me the ick. I was repulsed. I was disgusted. I was like, ew, I thought I liked you, but now I don't. I'm actually a little bit nauseous and nauseated when I think about you. Every time somebody disappoints you, start revoking those privileges. From now on, you are no longer attracted to bad behavior. Hi guys, it's Nija. Welcome back to my channel. I help awakened women create their dream life through manifestation and mindset. Today's video is a little bit of a spanking because I want to talk about something that used to really trigger me. So if I get really fiery in this video, it's okay. Okay, you guys know I'm a double fire sign. There is lots of fire. There is lots of heat. I'm very passionate. I am not yelling at the women, okay? I am inspiring and activating. So please see it as such. Guys, remember, I love men. I love healthy men. So this is not to dog out men or anything like that. Like I said, I love healthy men. Today we are going to be talking about why you keep letting him. Now, this is a cautionary tale from my own personal life experience, so I'm not even going to act like this did not at one point really used to trigger me, affect me, and make me go crazy. We're going to talk about it right now. The first thing that I want to say, being convenient is destroying your Riz. People have been saying Riz, 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 Riz. I don't know where the word Riz came from. I don't know if it's like from the UK or from England or something, and people use Riz to describe like how cool you are, or like, oh, he's like, I don't know, charismatic or whatever the word. Okay, guys, use Urban Dictionary, look up the word Riz. You being convenient is destroying your Riz, meaning that as women, naturally men want to be around you, okay? You've got that light, that feminine energy. Our energy is very healing. You might notice that a lot of men want to hang around you simply to talk to you about things that are going on in your life. This is the first thing that's going to trigger me. You are not free therapy. You are not free therapy. This is why this is going to trigger me. I noticed that I had a particular person who stayed in my life, and I thought it was because, oh, we're such good friends. Oh, we just genuinely love and care about each other. No. This man thought I was free therapy, meaning that every time something happened in his life, every time he had some type of profound realization, or every time, he had a aha moment, I was the first person that he always wanted to share it with. And at first I was like, wow, he really values my opinion. He really, thinks highly of what I have to say. No, he saw me as free therapy. This is something that women have to be mindful of. We have this very nurturing and caring energy about us, which makes people want to just come to us and bare their souls to us and tell us absolutely everything that's going on in their life. And that's fine if you have the space, time, energy, and compassion to allow people to do that. However, notice when people are using you for your energy, and when people are genuinely allowing that flow of exchange, right? Like in a genuine friendship, you might share an exchange and they share an exchange, and it's like a volley. You both feel safe and comfortable to share an exchange. Be mindful of those relationships where it seems like people always reach out to you to share, to share, to share, to share, to share. But as soon as you have something going on in your reality and you want to share, or you want to, say how you're feeling, people can't hold space for you. I noticed this is a really big theme in my life because I have the gift of being able to hold space for people and talk to people and all of these things. And I feel as if people have the ability to do the same thing, but they don't. They don't know how to hold space. They don't know how to show compassion or empathy in the way that you show compassion and empathy. Ladies, you are not free therapy. So if there is no reciprocity, if you're unable to share your thoughts and opinions with people and they can hold space for you the way that you hold space for them, you need to stop. You're not free therapy. Okay. And so that was the first download. Being convenient is destroying your riz. What do I mean by this? I'll give you another little story time. So I was in not even a relationship, you could call it a situationship. I have no idea what to call it. Okay. When you're in a situationship, first and foremost, don't get your feelings involved, because you're going to assume that people are going to treat you in a certain way, and it's not what it is. Okay. So the first mistake is getting in a situationship and thinking that your feelings and emotions are going to be protected. They will not be. Okay. So this is a situation I found myself in. I was in a situationship thing, right? And this guy was going out of town for a week, right? And right before he leaves, he's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to miss you so much. I'm going to miss you. We're going to text and call every single day. Going to miss you. On the duration of the trip, we're texting, FaceTiming, calling every single day. You know, oh, he really misses me. Oh, he really wants to talk to me. From the day that he leaves, we're like, oh, on this day when you return, we're going to hang out. We're going to do this. We're going to do that on this day when you return. Okay, making these plans for the future. Tell me why, when this man returns from his trip, he is nowhere to be found. Okay, no text message. No, there was a text. There was a text, hey, I've landed. I'm back. Okay, cool. After that, no communication, no text message. And in my head, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Maybe he's just resting, right? Like it was a really long trip. Maybe he's just tired. He's just resting. No, don't give people the benefit of the doubt. If you are important to them, people will make you aware of how important you are to them. Okay. You don't have to question your importance in somebody's life, because they show you how important you are to them, right? Long story short, I ended up reaching out to the guy and I'm like, hey, what happened? You were acting like you were all excited to come home and see me. And now that you're home, you were nowhere to be found. What's going on? What did they say? Oh, I'm sorry. I went to go hang out with my guys when I got back because it's football day, blah, 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 blah. In my head, I'm thinking, okay, that's cool. Where's the communication? Where's the communication? Because people who value you and value your time and make you a priority in their life, the least they can do is say, hey, gonna be hanging out with the boys today, but I will make time for you later on. Send. In a discussion. There's no argument involved. Okay, I get it. You're busy. I'll see you later. When people do not value you enough to use simple communication to let you know what's going on in their world, they're doing that because they don't really care about you, okay? And if you allow people to treat you that way, you keep letting them. You keep letting them. So of course they're going to continue to treat you like you are a nobody, because you treat yourself like a nobody. You keep letting them, okay? So in that instance, instead of getting mad, like what do women usually do when we get mad and when we get triggered by men? We go bananas. We start to emotionally spiral. We start to say, you can't do this and you can't do that and you can't treat me like. Zip your mouth. This is the next thing. Speak your boundary once. And then if your boundary continues to be broken, you have to walk away. Okay? If you do not walk away when a boundary is broken, you are doing it to yourself. You're letting him. I feel as if that's the moral of this video. You're letting him. He's treating you the way that he's treating you because you're letting him, right? Okay. Anyway, let's continue. Being convenient is destroying your riz, meaning that when you don't have a life, when you make that person your life and you no longer maintain your own life, your aura points, they drop. Your riz points, they drop. When you always make yourself available to somebody, they don't value your time. They don't value your attention. They just assume you're always going to be there. You're always going to be available for them. And they don't take you seriously. Okay? So being convenient, meaning that when you accept those last minute plans, Now, this isn't the case for everybody, but like when you get in a habit of accepting those last minute plans, that means that they don't value your time. You were a last minute thought, right? People who, you know what I really like? I really like a guy who's like, hey, let's meet at this time and this day, and this is what we're going to do, right? The guys that don't do that, they don't do that because they don't care enough about you to try and impress you. They don't care enough about you to try and create a safe container for your activity. They don't care enough, okay? This is the difference. People who care about you and want to spend time with you, they put it on the calendar. They say this time, this day, this location. If a guy is not doing that, he does not care about you. Not enough to put it on the calendar. Okay? The guy that got me upset, right, was like, oh, I can't wait to see you when I get off vacation, blah, 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 blah. And then gets off vacation and goes straight to his guy friends. Like, okay, cool, go to hang out with your guy friends. Where's the communication? You know why the communication was lacking? Because you're convenient and they assume that you're always going to be available whenever that they text you, whenever they reach out, you're always going to be like, yeah, I'm going to drop everything and I'm going to be there. Stop doing that. Let's continue, okay? And remember, he devalues you because you're always available. The next thing I want to say is that you don't have a life and it's destroying you. The fact that you don't have a life is why people think that they can treat you the way that they treat you. They're like, oh, she's got nothing better to do. Oh, me needing her is more important than whatever the heck that she was doing. Oh, she's always going to make herself available to me so I can blow her off whenever I want to because she's always going to make herself available to me. I can make plans with her, cancel the plans, and reschedule the plans last minute, and it's going to be okay with her because she's just so grateful to see me anyway. If you're receiving that behavior, it's because you're letting him. All right. Do I need to take a break for a second? I don't want to trigger anybody. Let's take a quick break, okay? You guys, I have an entire ebook. It is called Obsessed, and it is all about how to have deep self-love, how to become immensely obsessed with yourself, cultivate deep self-love so that you can create your dream life through a place of confidence and loving yourself and having, meeting your own needs, not waiting for other people to meet your needs. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, I've got self-love rituals in this book, and we talk about relationships, we talk about self-care, we talk about all those things in that book. So if this conversation is interesting to you and you want more information from me about how you can become obsessed with yourself and create your dream life, check out my book Obsessed. I will leave it linked in the description box. Okay, let's continue. So I want you guys to give yourself the ick every time he disappoints you. Give yourself the ick. Instead of going to him and being like, you know what girls do? We act like a chicken with our head cut off when we get upset, and we just want to nag and nag and nag and nag. If you are nagging, you are losing. Okay? If you're nagging, you're losing because you are acting as if you are still emotionally invested. And you are emotionally invested. But instead of nagging, calmly explain the offense and then remove yourself. So in that instance where, the guy goes MIA after he finally comes home from vacation and it's like, I'm going to see you, I'm going to see you, I'm going to see you, and then doesn't show up, and I'm like, okay, I could have gotten mad. Okay. And in my head, I almost for a second said, you know what? I'm going to give this guy a piece of my mind. But then I was like, no, because that will actually make them feel good. Did you guys know that when you get triggered and start yelling at people and you're like, I'm going to give him a piece of my mind, you are only feeding him energetically with your power, with your energy. Telling him you're so important to me, you can treat me however you want to treat me. You're giving people energy when you nag and when you complain and when you cry about it, when you make it a big deal. Stop making everything a big deal. Instead, do this. Remove yourself from the situation. So this is what I did in that instance when I got a little bit triggered, right? I said, you know what? What works for me is when you tell me a time and a day that you're available, and then like we can hang out from there. I get it. You're busy. You wanted to see your friends, and that's fine, but you never said anything to me. You didn't communicate that to me, and it did rub me the wrong way. We're totally good though. It's fine. In the future, just give me a date and time when you want to hang out. That's all. All right, I'll talk to you later. Bye. That was the end of that conversation. And for a moment, he almost got riled up and almost wanted to, drag me into the being riled up. And I'm like, I'm not riled up. I'm not invested enough to care. Okay, you've already shown me how you feel about me. You've already shown me how you feel about whatever the heck this is. Okay, I get it. I've collected the data. Thank you for letting me. Thank you for making me aware of how you really feel about me. And so it wasn't an argument. It wasn't a nagging situation. Because guys, they do shut off when you start nagging. They shut off when you start complaining. They shut off. They shut off. So it's not really getting you anywhere complaining and begging and crying. You're only making them feel like the prize when you act like that. When you act chaotic and you start crying and you start begging, that makes them feel like they're the prize. Okay, let's continue. So when you are faced with bad behavior, give yourself the ick. From now on, you are no longer attracted to bad behavior. Okay? And so when people do things that are not what you want them to do, you get the ick, right? So in that instance, him being a bad communicator and hyping me up to make me think, oh, I want to see you, I want to see you, I want to see you, and then letting me down, that gave me the ick. I was repulsed. I was disgusted. I was like, ew, I thought I liked you, but now I don't. I'm actually a little bit nauseous and nauseated when I think about you. Give yourself the ick. Okay? From now on, bad behavior makes you uninterested. Okay? And then I learned this from Shira, make it like a point system, right? Every time somebody disappoints you, take them down a peg. Every time somebody disappoints you, start revoking those privileges. For example, if a privilege is they get to text you all day whenever they want and you make yourself available for those text messages, if you're revoking those privileges, we're not texting all day. I don't have time to text you all day anymore. If you're revoking privileges, if he thought he could just FaceTime you at random hours of the day and it was going to be okay, we're revoking those privileges. There will be no more random FaceTimes. There'll be no more random phone calls. Okay? If we were having slumber parties and doing all those fun things together, we don't do that anymore because you just gave me the ick. Okay? Instead of nagging and complaining and all those things, just become uninterested. Bad behavior gives you the ick and makes you uninterested. And that'll solve that problem right there. From now on, every time something disappoints you, you have to become uninterested and start revoking those privileges. Okay? Until there are no more privileges. And when there are no more, when they're like, oh, I want to take you on a date. I don't want to do that. I don't want to sit 20 inches away from you at a table. I have the ick. I'm repulsed by your behavior. I don't want to do that. Okay? But again, because there are no natural consequences, as Mina Irfan, the universe guru, talks about this concept of natural consequences, which means you don't need to punish people. What is the natural evolutionary consequence for their behavior? For example, when somebody disappoints you or they say they're going to be there and they're not there, what is the natural consequence? You don't need to physically punish anybody. The natural consequence is you become uninterested and you go find somebody else. That's the natural consequence. So I love that idea of natural consequences. Stop popping off on people. Stop giving them a piece of your mind. You're only making them feel good about themselves, truthfully. Let's continue. Okay. When you are convenient, we talked about being convenient, but now we need to talk about being desperate for love and attention. You're letting them treat you like trash because you are desperate for love and attention. Again, this is why you need to check out my book, Obsessed. And I have a few videos on my channel also about the obsessed topic, how to be deeply obsessed with yourself, because the more you love yourself, the less likely you're going to sit around and let people treat you like crap. And so when you cultivate that deep sense of self-love, you are no longer going to allow people to treat you any kind of way. Because you're like, I would never treat myself this way. So no, I can't allow you to treat me this way either. Let's continue. So you have to give yourself love and attention so that you do not seek external validation, because in seeking external validation, again, you allow people to treat you however they want to treat you. Unacceptable. Okay? So if you are codependent and you need something from him, this is going to be very difficult for you. So that means you have to meet your own needs. Emotional needs, financial needs, intellectual needs. You have to meet your own needs so that you will not be codependent on other people. Okay? I feel as if he knows that you'll never leave, that is a self-love and a self-worth problem. If you know you will never leave, that is a self-love and a self-worth problem. You have to be willing to leave. This goes for literally everything in life. You have to be willing to leave your toxic situationships, your toxic relationships, toxic friendships, toxic work environment, whatever the environment. You have to be willing to leave. Okay? Now, I've never been married, so I don't know how that works in a marriage, right? Like if you're married to somebody, I'm assuming you commit to them. In that instance, you got to work it out. But for those of us who are not married, if you spot bad behavior, you can leave. Okay? You can work on it. You can talk about your boundary, but how long are you gonna work on it? And I say this because I was in a relationship with a guy for 7 years. 7 years. And recycling the same pattern of the same BS for 7 years. You're telling me that he couldn't figure it out after 7 years? Very disappointing. You have to be willing to leave. People don't take you seriously until you leave. My ex didn't take me seriously until I left. And that's just the truth. Let us continue, and I'm almost done with this list. Guys, if you've been enjoying this episode, please thumbs up the video. Okay, so again, he knows you'll never leave. That's why he treats you the way he treats you. That's a self-love and a self-worth problem. The last thing that I want to say is that he treats you like a nobody because that's exactly the way that you treat yourself. When you start to see yourself as somebody as important, as, worthy, that's how people start to treat you as well. The way people treat you is a reflection of how you view yourself. And so if your relationships look crazy or wonky, that's a reflection of how you treat yourself. And if you wouldn't treat yourself that way, you have to be willing to walk away. That's the part that people don't like. They don't like the walk away. They want to sit and cry and bitch and complain and stay in that person's face and tell them how you're doing me wrong, you're doing me wrong, you're doing me wrong, but you will never leave. That's a problem. Okay? They will show you how they feel about you. And that is the last point that I'm going to make. If you're ever questioning, they will show you how they feel about you. I would argue that you should stop listening to what they say and just start observing, right? Like in the instance of the guy saying, oh, I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you. I can't wait to see you when I get off of vacation. And then finally gets off of vacation. And where's the first place he goes? It wasn't to me. He showed me exactly how he feels about me. It shows me exactly where I fit it into his life, right? So they will always show you how they feel about you. Always. It will never be a secret. Are you observing? Are you viewing? Are your eyeballs open? Okay? And again, if you don't leave, you keep letting him treat you the way that he's treating you, and you're letting him. So that is the end of this episode, guys. I know it might have been a little triggering. It was a little bit of a spanking. These are all from my personal experience. So guys, remember, I love men. I love healthy men. So this is not to dog out men or anything like that. Like I said, I love healthy men. However, I remember I used to get triggered a lot in my previous relationship. And then I had to outgrow certain patterns, and these are just some of the things that I learned. So if this was helpful and you want to work on your deepening your self-love and becoming obsessed with yourself so you can have higher quality relationships, check out my ebook, Obsessed. I'll leave it linked below. And until next time, my name is Nija Sym. Keep creating your dream life, and I'll see you in my next video.